हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम.
हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत श्री भागवत प्रभु.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you for joining. Dear devotees, welcome to Nityam Bhagavad Sevya. Today we are very happy to have the association of His Grace Ashok Gaura Prabhu ji. He'll be sharing Bhagavad Gita from 4th Canto, 28th chapter, verse number 3. The chapter is titled Puranjana Becomes Women in Next Life. Yes, Prabhu ji, please start. Thanks for joining.
Yes, Prabhu ji. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. नमः ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. मूकं करोति वाचालं गयति गिरिं कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं ईश्वरम्. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. Hare Krishna, I welcome all of you here. So today we will be reading from Canto 4, chapter 28, text 3. कालकन्यापि बुभुजे पुरञ्जना पुरम्बलात् ययाभिभूतं पुरुषः सद्यो निःसारतां यात्. कालकन्यापि बुभुजे पुरञ्जना पुरम्बलात् ययाभिभूतः पुरुषः सद्यो निःसारतां यात्. कालकन्यापि बुभुजे पुरञ्जना पुरम्बलात् ययाभिभूता पुरुषः सद्यो निःसारतां यात्. Synonyms: Kalakanya, the daughter of Kala. Api, also. Bhupuje, took possession of. Puranjanapuram, the city of Puranjana. Balat, by force. Yaya, by whom. Abhibhutaha, being overwhelmed. Purushaha, a person. Sadhyaha, immediately. Nihsaratam, uselessness. Yat, gets. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Gradually, Kalakanya, with the help of dangerous soldiers, attacked all the inhabitants of Puranjana city and thus rendered them useless for all purposes. At the fag end of life, purport, at the fag end of life, when the invalidity of old age attacks a man, his body becomes useless for all purposes. Therefore, Vedic training dictates that when a man is in his boyhood, he should be trained in the process of brahmacharya. That is, he should be completely engaged in the service of the Lord and should not in any way associate with women. When the boy becomes a young man, he marries between the ages of 20 and 25. When he is married at the right age, he can immediately beget strong, healthy sons. Now female descendants are increasing because young men are very weak sexually. A male child will be born if the husband is sexually stronger than the wife, but if the female is stronger, a female child will be born. Thus, it is essential to practice the system of brahmacharya if one wishes to beget a male child when one is married. When one reaches the age of 50, he should give up family life. At that time, one's child should be grown up so that the father can leave the family responsibilities to him. The husband and wife may then go abroad to live a retired life and travel to different places of pilgrimage. When both the husband and wife lose their attachment for family and home, the wife returns home to live under the care of her grown-up children and to remain aloof from family affairs. The husband then takes sannyas to render some service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is a perfect system of civilization. The human form of life is especially meant for God realization. If one is unable to take to the process of Krishna consciousness from the very beginning of life, he must be trained to accept these principles at the fag end of life. Unfortunately, there is no training even in childhood, nor can one give up his family life even at the end. This is the situation with the city of Puranjana, figuratively described in these verses. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I seek all the blessings of the devotees assembled here so that I can speak appropriately. In fact, this is my real story. This is a story of Puranjana. Of course, in fact, this is the story of all the jivas who come here. So eventually, it can be considered as the autobiography of, all the jivas. But more so for me, even in this lifetime. So this is more of my story. If somebody has to ask me, what's your background, Prabhu? This is my background. You can go through these 3 chapters of Puranjana. So you'll come to know about me. So something like that. So seeking the blessings of all Vaishnavas here, where I can, appropriately share. I have no realizations, but whatever I've heard and learned, I'm going to share here. If it is helping others, then it is an advantage for them. So this is a very interesting allegorical story by Narada. Narada very nicely, he, it's like a 2-in-1 story where, the whole, the central point of this entire story of Puranjana is about, how Jiva is stuck because of sexual activity. All the 3 chapters, all the previous 3 chapters, we see how A living entity is stuck in the material world because of sexual activity. The whole principle, the main principle of material existence is because of the sexual activity. And the other point within this allegorical story is about how the jiva is controlled by Puranjani. That is, Puranjani is acting as a companion to Puranjana, and it is represented by intelligence. Intelligence, which in turn, controls. Uh, this is material intelligence. So material intelligence controls the mind and the 10 senses. So the story begins in such a way that Puranjana enters the city of Panchala, and then there is this lady who is representing the intelligence, and she has her own associates of some 10 servants who are representing the senses, and then they in turn have hundreds of wives that is representing all the desires of these different senses. And then finally, Puranjana is enjoying, and this whole city is protected by the five-hooded serpent, which is the prana, the five pranas within the body. And then there is Chandavega who comes and who attacks the city. So Chandavega is always attacking because Chandavega is represented by time, and we only do not perceive it. So, as it is said, in the Bhagavatam, in the chapter of Dhritarashtra, where it said, Evam griheshu sattanam pramathanam tadihaya atyakramat avigyataha kalaha paramadustaram. So the kala, time is very, very imperceptible. Atyakramat avigyat. Avigyata means you do not realize, we do not know that we are being attacked. So it is avigyata. And it is atyakramat, very systematically, step by step, right from the age of 25, 30, we are attacked by kala and we do not perceive it. And by the time we realize, we are already in the old age. So this is how it is. It is very subtle. So Chandavega is always attacking. Chandavega is attacking with his 720 soldiers, which are nothing but 360 a day and 360 night. So that way, throughout the entire year and year after year, we are constantly attacked by Chandavega. So the city is on constant attack. And as if this is not sufficient, and then, Narad Muni, very interestingly, within this story, he introduces Kalakanya, who is supposed to be the daughter of Chandavega, and she is coming and asking Narada, I need a place, I want to marry you. He refuses. He says that, I have nothing to do. Then he'll ask her to go to this Yavan Raj. And then Yavan Raj also initially, he refuses her. He makes her into a sister. He calls her as a sister. And Prabhupada very interestingly writes that only namesake she is a sister, but he wanted to have illicit relationship with her. So, and he speaks about incest, how common is incest within the human society in the age of Kali. And then he introduces his brother Prajwara, and he'll ask her to go get married to him. So that way Kalakanya, who's representing the daughter of time, which is nothing but old age, Jara. The other name for her is Jara, whereas Yavan Raj is representing Bhaya, fear. So that way they all gang up together, Kalakanya, Yavan Raj, Prajwara, and the soldiers of Yavan Raj, which are nothing but they are represented by all the diseases. And that is where, this shloka comes, where now they have all attacked the inhabitants of Puranjana's city. And they have completely rendered the entire city useless. So Yavan Raj is, if you see, even in the history, we see so many Mughal emperors although they are glorified in uh, our history textbooks, but they had very, degraded lifestyle without having to take their names. There were emperors who married their own daughters. So that was the, degraded level of these emperors. And there were also examples of, the father-son duo uh, in the Mughal Empire, who lusted behind, so many of these prostitutes. And that has been glorified into uh, some, big love story, as if, this has been like some really, very serious love story. But actually, they were completely licentious, completely, very, degraded, lustful, but they have been, depicted as heroes. So very appropriately, Srila Prabhupada puts how, Yavan Raj's relationship with this Kalakanya, and, is, although apparently seems to be like, he's so, such a nice person, he's calling her as a sister, but the whole purpose is, enjoy and exploit without having to follow any Vedic culture. So that way, this is the main cause, and these are the ones, all this kind of degraded civilization is the one which this kind of a lifestyle completely, destroys our body. So that is how, this entire team of Kalakanya Prajvara, they are attacking the city of Puranjana, and they completely make it useless for all purposes. And then here in the purport, Prabhupada talks about how at the fag end of life, it becomes useless. Through Vedic training, a man in his boyhood should be trained to follow the process of brahmacharya. That is, he should be completely engaged in the service of the Lord and should not in any way associate with women. When the boy becomes a young man, he marries between the ages of 20 and 25. So in the age of Kali Yuga, men are most degraded. There is hardly, any process of training for brahmacharya. They're easily addicted to, so many degraded things like self-abuse, internet, pornography, so many things. So there's no question of, maintaining any kind of brahmacharya. So having such a degraded consciousness, and when they associate with women, then the result is actually only Varna Sankara. That is what happens. As per Ayurveda, it is said that, whatever food we eat, it is converted into rasa, rakta, then majja, medha, then there is asti, and then there is shukra. So rasa, rakta, mamsa, majja, medha, asti, and shukra, sapt dhatu. And this final dhatu, the shukra dhatu, is very, very precious. And the elasticity and the flexibility of the shukra dhatu actually keeps the body fit and very elastic. And the person's, bodies, tendons, ligaments, joints, everything is, very healthy, strong, even, throughout his life. But unfortunately, that is completely wasted. And that is how in the age of Kali, there is only a degraded population because there is no proper consciousness of men. And also here, the most interesting fact mentioned by Srila Prabhupada is, if a person is married at the right age, he can immediately beget strong and healthy sons. We can beget strong and healthy sons only when the Shukra Dhatu is strong. And Shukra Dhatu is strong only when it is actually restrained and when somebody is practicing brahmacharya, or else it is not possible. That is why, there is so much of impotency in the age of Kali Yuga. Or even if they are not impotent, as Srila Prabhupada mentions, the female descendants are increasing because young men are weak sexually, because they have wasted their energy so much that they are unable to produce strong, healthy sons. So that is why the female is more stronger, and that is the reason why female children are born. So more and more females are born in this world. So this is a very interesting fact. You don't get to hear all such things in the medical world, the medical science. But Srila Prabhupada is revealing how when the female is stronger, then the child is female. When the man is stronger, then it is a male child. So it is very simple. If somebody wants to have a male child, just remain a brahmachari, practice brahmacharya throughout your life, and then get married, and then automatically a person has male child. And male child is very important for the age of Kali Yuga, because for that matter, for all the ages, but in the age of Kali Yuga, the female population is more. Srila Prabhupada is saying that the female population is increasing more and more. So, which is not a healthy sign, because when men are there in the society, when they are having a good character, so that is when they will be able to produce appropriate population. But when women increase in population, then there is no question of emancipation, because a majority of the population is female. So that is why, because self-realization is a matter of self-realization is meant for men. It is not meant for women. And the self-realization for a woman is following in the footsteps of the husband, serving the husband, and following whatever it is. So that way, that is her self-realization. But basically, you will not find a woman going into Himalayas or going away performing austerities somewhere. There are exceptions, but the general principle, the general norm is that self-realization is meant for men. So that is the reason why the Shastra emphasizes, stresses more on producing men. So as the Shastra says, putrarte kriyate bharya. You accept a bharya to produce putra, not putri. So putrarthe kriyate bharya. Putra pinda prayojanam. So one produces putra because he will perform pinda, shraddha. So pinda prayojanam, or punnama naraka trayate tihi putra. So somebody who delivers his forefathers from the Put Naraka. So he is called as Putra. So that is why a male child, is very important, because he's a male body is very, very what do you call favorable to self-realization, unlike the female body. A female body self-realization is by serving and following the footsteps of the husband. That is how it is. Yeah, for that matter, even the Shastras are not recommended to be read by women. Shastras are meant for the men. Women are not going to the Gurukuls to learn all the Vedas and this and that. You don't see that. Traditionally, you don't see that. Of course, devotees, we follow Bhagavad Vidhi. So Bhagavad Vidhi is completely different. So I'm not a woman hater, just to put a disclaimer again. This is completely whatever knowledge that we have learned, I'm just sharing. So that way, the self-realization is more of, for men. So that is how the men population in the society should be more. That is why in the Satya Yuga, you will find more men, more Paramahamsas. But in the age of Kali Yuga, as and how, the population degrades, the women's population is more. And the cycle continues. Again, when they are during the Satya Yuga, again, the male population is more. Then in Kali, again, the female population is more. So this goes on. So eventually it degrades to such low level that in the 12th canto, Srila Prabhupada is writing, all the men are driven away, or all the men are killed. The women are exploited by the so-called rulers who are nothing but the Dasyubhi. They are all thieves, plunderers. So women are taken away, and the men are driven away to the forests and the mountains, something like that. So that way, the women population is more and more. And when the women population is more, man can only become more and more lusty. He cannot focus on self-realization. So that is how, it is very critical, very important that in a society, the male population is always there, because that way, it becomes easy for all the jivatmas to be liberated from this world. And this has taken a very, very perverted understanding in today's world. Just like, you have this Varnashrama Dharma has taken a perverted reflection of casteism, because of those who do not really understand Varnashrama, they consider it as caste. In the same way, people who do not understand the Vedic culture, they think, producing male child is important. So if female child is born, kill it. So that is why this female infanticide is a very prevalent problem in India, especially in the North India. Whenever they have a female child, they want to kill, because they think that, oh no, the Vedic culture says that one should have a male child. But they do not have any spiritual understanding. The spiritual understanding is, yes, one should have a male in their own lineage, but it is meant for spiritual emancipation. That is how it is. So that is completely taken a very perverted reflection, and now it is, people are so grossly foolish. They think that female is just a burden, so kill the child, kill the baby. And then because man is meant for earning money, he will earn more money. I'll send him to America, so he is of some use. So let's have, male babies. This is how, it has taken such a degraded shape, especially those who do not understand the Vedic culture. So one who reaches, so a male child will be born, okay. So one who reaches the age of 50, he should give up family life. At that time, one's child should be grown up so that the father can leave the family responsibilities to him. So it's important that, we plan our retirement. Generally, 50, we still see in the society, devotees or non-devotees, we are still working very hard, thinking that, no, I have to maintain myself, and I have to plan for my future, and so many things like that. So they are in that illusion that, things will not be sufficient for me, so I have to work hard more and more. Or somehow, because we are not trained sufficiently to become detached from family life, so we continue. The Shastra says, Panchas Chordvam Vanam Brajet. So one should go away to the forest. The husband and wife should go away, to holy. Here it is mentioned abroad. Doesn't mean that, we go settle down in America or Singapore and then, live a retired life. Abroad means away from home. So we go away from the home, and then we travel to all the holy places, Mayapur, Vrindavan, Puri, etc. And then we keep coming back every 6 months, 3 months, whatever. That way, automatically, the attachment on the home reduces. The attachment to the family reduces. If we do not go out of the home, then we will be very much attached to home, especially during the COVID, because it has confined us to our homes last 3 years because of working from home and things like that. This actually increases, more attachment to the home. So it is very important to exercise some inconvenience and go out of the home and make it frequent to travel to the holy places. So that way, our attachment to the home reduces. So that is important. Or else, the attachment will not go away even until the fag end of our life. So that will be a problem. Just like Dhritarashtra, how Srila Prabhupada talks about uh, how Dhritarashtra was so attached when Vidura came, when he came and spoke to Dhritarashtra. Vidura said that Andha Puraiva Vadiro Manda Pragyamscha Sampratam Vishirna Danta Mandagni Saraga Kafamudvahan. You're blind. First of all, you are in your old age. Old age itself is a great suffering. In one of the previous purports, I think Prabhupada mentions, one prays for immediate death because, the sufferings in the old age is like that. So you're already in old age. And over and above that, you're blind. Not only materially blind, but you're spiritually also blind. Andha puraiva. And then mand pragyamsya sampratam. You're dull-headed. Because in old age, you become senile. Senile means, you don't remember anything. You tend to forget everything. We will not even remember all that we have learned in Krishna consciousness. We will slowly forget everything. We cannot recollect. Okay, we may remember the Hare Krishna mantra, but generally, all the philosophy, whatever we have learned, read, heard, it becomes slowly weak and weak and weak, and we may not remember. That is called as senility. So, mand pragyam sasam. Vishirna danta mandagni, the teeth are fallen away, and then there's no fire in the stomach. Saraga kaphamutva. And, he is coughing kapha and is, basically, a rotten body in this old age. And then Vidura tells him, Aho mahiyasid jantur jivita asha yatha bhavan bhimapa varjitam pindam adatte grihapalava. Like a dog, you are eating that foodstuff thrown by Bhima. So, Aho mahiyasi jantur jivita asha yatha bhavan. So look, alas, how great is the great desire to continue to live in this rotten body. Although the rotten body is serving no purpose, all the purposes are defeated. One cannot walk even 1 feet. One is unable to walk without a walking stick. One is unable to pass stool properly. One is unable to eat properly. One is unable to sit and sleep properly. Because, the body is paining, the skin is paining, the bones are paining. You cannot turn around because, you have pain in one leg or in one hand. So that way, it is a very horrible life. And the problems only keep on increasing. So in such a degraded situation, you're not ready. You just want to eat, the food thrown away by the Pandavas. And not only that, what is more shameless is that you tried to kill them. He says, Agnir nisrishto dattascha garo darascha dushita. You tried to burn them with Agni in Varnavarta. Agni nisrishto. And then Garo, that is, you gave them poison. You tried to kill the Pandavas by giving poison to Bhima and the other Pandavas. Then Darascha Dushita, you insulted their wife in front of everybody. You did not protest when your sons were insulting her. Then Hritam, Dhanam, and Kshetram. You took away their land, property, and all their wealth. And Taddattas asubhikyat. So you are so shameless that after, inflicting all these miseries and suffering on them, you are so shameless that, you are being maintained by them and you are happily sitting here on a chair and then enjoying it. What is more degraded than this? And Srila Prabhupada mentions that there was one Dhritarashtra at that time, but in the age of Kali, in every house there is a Dhritarashtra, who's going through this process. And he is unable to come out. He is unable to come out of his home. And he goes through the suffering of humiliation at the hands of his family members. And yet at the same time, he is unable to practice any spiritual life. He is unable to take up to any spiritual life. So if it is a devotee, okay, the family members are Krishna conscious, then he's safe. But if family members are not Krishna conscious, then the devotee also should leave his house. Mata yasya grihe nasti bharya apriyavadini aranyam tena gantavyam yatha griham tatha aranyam. So the home is as good as a forest where there is no parents to give good guidance, or where bharya apriyavadini, where women are disrespectful to their husbands, and then it is better for him to go take shelter in Vrindavan or somewhere, or go away where there is association of devotees, rather than sit and rot at home. But if it is favorable, yes, a person can continue at home. But yes, the family as husband and wife, they should be trained. They should practice to visiting all the holy places, and that way they reduce their attachment on their home, wealth, property, children, all of that. And it is also said that the husband gets the opportunity to take sannyas once the wife goes away, once he is well trained in the vanaprastha ashram. In the age of Kali Yuga, we are scared because we are worried, oh, my body is weak, because we have done so much of sense gratification, so much of sensual indulgence, that the bodies are weak. So we are not in a position to take up vanaprastha or take up sannyas. We want a lot of support, so we continue to stay back at home, and because the wife or the children are there to take care of me, so I feel more comfortable there. But it is a trick of Maya. So that is why it is very important. That is why the whole process begins with brahmacharya. So when somebody is well trained in brahmacharya, and then when he produces a child, and then the child grows up quickly, then he quickly quits his family life by the age of 50. And after that, he still has strength. His physical faculty, mental faculty, everything is very physical faculty and mental faculty is very strong. So he is able to take up to sannyas. So this is how the varnashrama was practiced. But unfortunate that in the age of Kali Yuga it becomes very difficult. We still want to even after 50 we want to run an IT job or something like that, or we want to make more and more money for our own hospitalization or medical insurance, and so many things we plan like that, without giving sufficient time to Krishna consciousness. So we sacrifice on our precious time of human life for working hard, and that is completely lost. So that way the whole purpose of giving more time to Krishna consciousness is defeated. So the human form of life is especially meant for God realization. If one is unable to take up to this process of Krishna consciousness from the very beginning of life, he must be trained to accept these principles at the fag end of their life. So it is important that this is actually a hope-giving statement made by Srila Prabhupada, that if we have missed out on practicing Krishna consciousness from the very beginning of life, there is no need to be dejected, forlorn, very crestfallen, because you can still practice these Krishna conscious principles even at the end of our life. When we become very repentant, when we are lamenting for our past, then we easily get the grace of the Supreme Lord, Guru, Vaishnavas, and we can practice even at the end of our life. And sure enough, Krishna will place us in the appropriate situation. So there's no question of no hope in Krishna consciousness. But unfortunately, no training is given in childhood, nor anything is given at the fag end of their life also. So that is why it behooves their devotees even more to reach out to the masses and give them an opportunity so that they can practice Krishna consciousness. Okay, Hare Krishna. I will stop here. If anybody has any questions, you can please ask. You will be free from having to hear my blabbering for a much longer time.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you,
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam. Thank you for explaining the subtle nuances of the male child and female child. I mean, the male progeny and female progeny from the Vedic and spiritual perspective, and also the importance of accepting Varnashrama, or rather the Vanaprastha stage at the age of 50. Thank you very much for a lot of thought-provoking points. Devotees can unmute themselves to share reflections, or if they have any questions, please ask Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you for the very inspiring class. Lot of insights. Actually, for a very, very long time, I used to have this doubt, but I was very scared to ask anyone about this, because whenever I read Bhagavatam, the focus is only on the male, man, the husband,
Right.
like that. So I used to think, I'm not a feminist.
Right.
I'm a sincere follower of Prabhupada and Vedic version.
Right.
But I had this doubt, but because I thought I would, be offending anybody, or so I didn't ask. But today you actually threw light on that aspect. The real. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Okay, anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Prabhu.
Thank you for a very nice class, and again a reminder coming through, the sampradaya, what
Right.
one should do as they approach towards the age of 50 plus.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, wonderful class.
Hare
And
Krishna.
very long awaited class from you. And not only that, giving an insight of how to live in the old age. So much of factors which you explained through the Puranjana story. It was really giving us a little scare also in our life, in my life especially. So in this age, how to live with a proper Krishna consciousness is giving me a insight. So nice of it. Thank you very much for it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams Prabhu. Thanks for the wonderful class.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I was
Dandavat.
feeling sad what will happen to women having atheistic husbands. Can they not go back to the Lord? But suddenly I remembered this.
No, nothing like that.
Bhagavad Gita
Yeah,
9.3.
of course, your devotion will take you to Krishna.
Okay, thank you.
Each jiva is individual. So your bhakti will take you back to Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. I have one question, Prabhu. Actually, earlier, I think what Prabhupada has mentioned, like women following the footsteps of the husband, that is in a situation when, the husband is following the dharma, right, Prabhuji? What if the husband is not devotional, if he's not following the footsteps of dharma? What is the position of those Matajis, Prabhuji? A very precarious situation. Right?
Yeah, so that's a famous question. So in the 7th canto, Srila Prabhupada, in one of the purports, he mentions that if the husband is sinful, then the woman is not obligated to serve him. And in certain situations, she can also, go away from the husband and live separately. But there is no question of divorce. So there was no such thing. She continues to be his wife and he continues to be her husband. But she can go away from the husband because it makes her Krishna consciousness favorable. Now, who is a sinful husband? That we have to identify. Not that somebody who is short-tempered, somebody who is angry, or somebody who is materialistic. No, we cannot consider that as a simple husband. So we have to really see, it is all case by case basis. It has to be really understood. And something which is affecting our Krishna consciousness, or somebody who's not allowing us to practice Krishna consciousness. So in such situation, yes, Srila Prabhupada writes in that purport that they're not obligated to serve their husband and they can go away. But generally, we tend to not tell this, because if it is taken for granted lightly, then the women will give that reference of that purport, and they will start. Already we are having problems. But if you see, Matajis, they want to take divorce and they want to go serve in Dham. They want to serve in Vrindavan. Or, they don't want to get married, but they want to go and live in Dham and they want to serve there. So like that, we see different kinds of propensities. But yes, in the extreme cases where, yes, it is completely impossible, I'm suffering. In such situations, yes, you can always recommend, to go away. I know that it's in the 7th canto, last 4 chapters, where there is a description of Varnashrama there in one of the purports. It is there.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. I have one more question in a similar context. We used to hear quite often, I used to hear from the childhood that whatever I think it's coming in Valmiki Ramayana as well, whatever the sinful activity committed by the husband, it has to be actually the fruit of the sinful activity has to be only suffered by the husband, whereas any punya or any other pious activities done by the husband, the 50% of that will be actually enjoyed by the woman. Similarly, when a woman is the wife is committing any sinful activity, the husband has to take a part of the reaction, because they are dependent, and it is the responsibility of the husband to guide. But from the devotional service perspective, if the husband is following a devotional life, and the wife is not serving him, but she is not able to follow as much as the husband is following. So how she will take the benefit out of that, Prabhuji?
Yeah, so if the husband is practicing devotional service, and if wife is not following properly, but she is not creating any trouble for him, then she will be benefited. She will get something from, whatever the husband is performing. That will be shared with the wife. She will get that sukriti.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So along they are obedient, they stay together in the home. Then, she will be benefited over a period of time. Sometimes, anarthas take time. The transformation of heart may happen after 10, 20, 30 years. We don't know. So we allow some time, patience, and then it is possible.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay, Prabhuji, we can conclude then. Thank you again for your time. We'll conclude with Vaishnava pranams.
Okay.
Vansha
Kripa Sindhu Vaishnava Ki Jai.